สวัสดีค่ะ
Good afternoon and welcome back to another session, the afternoon session of the Startup Innovation Thailand Expo 2023. We are at SITE 2023, and for the afternoon session, for those who are interested in hearing more information, we have a series about better data, better decision by the Office of the Public Sector Development Commission. Those who are interested, please take your seats in front of the main stage. And also welcome to those who are watching from the Facebook page of Startup Thailand. And please hit like and follow so that you can stay updated to interesting information about startups in Thailand. For this session, we will continue with the topic that was discussed by Kun Aripan. And we will deep dive into the topic related to better data, better decision in terms of data. How can data change the work of the government sector? So we will hear from the panel discussion on better data, better decision. And I'd like to invite Kun Aripan Charan Sukh, Deputy Secretary General of the Office of Public Sector Development Commission. Good afternoon, everyone, for the afternoon session. It's a session that we are pleased to present because it's a trend of improving the government system in terms of data. And the topic today is better data, better decision. And we can see that if we work with the people, and if we work with fact-based information, it will result in more precise decision making, and it will result in a precision government. This is what we would like to see. That decision making involves data, and in the past the government has given importance to data. Today we have guest speakers from various agencies that are working directly with data. I would like you to see the big picture, the overall picture first, about the open government system, as well as participation, which is an issue that we see that the important thing is open data. So providing information by the government results in other issues, whether it's in terms of issuing policies or participation. When we see the same set of data, for instance, of the issue of PM 2.5, and Gista will tell you about this. If everyone sees that the problem, what the cause of PM 2.5 is, then participation will occur, and it will result in an expansion of knowledge sharing, and it will result in innovation, and it will create an organizational culture. So these are the benefits of open data, and it will also result in transparency and involvement of all agencies to take responsibility in order to improve the bureaucratic system. You might have heard of the 4.0 bureaucratic system. So for this model, the first important issue is the connection of various government agencies. So it's the connection of data, data sharing systems, as well as exchanging information or enabling the public to easier access to information. However, in order to achieve this, another important keyword is innovation. So innovation will result in driving forward this issue in resulting the 4.0 bureaucratic system. And another issue that I also think is important and many government agencies are driving forward is standardizing data. What we are doing right now is we're developing a data catalog, and Dr. Monsan will talk about the various data that we have. So we use data from the data catalog. We standardize all the data, which will result in open data. And various government agencies are speeding up on switching what is manual to something that is transform into something that is digitized. So what this will result in is data sharing. We have seen success stories in the past. And when you wake up in the morning during the peak hours of PM 2.5, if you open the Air for Thai application of the Department of Pollution Control, so there's Air for Thai, and there's the COVID-19 Information Center where we can find information about the number of COVID-19 patients, or data.go.th, which I will talk about today, and also the PM 2.5 database. These are very interesting topics. And another issue is allowing the public to share their opinions. There's a website law.go.th, which is a central platform that allows the public to participate, or even the application called Thang Rat, which is an application that collects data and information. And the more we feed information into this app, the more capable it will be. So you can try to download this app and check it out. And it answers the issues that we have in our daily lives. And they provide more than 50 services. And also another application, if there's Trafi Fongdu, and Dr. Watson will talk about this. And another platform that is developed by UNDP is the platform called Bok Rao Thung Rat, which is not about complaints. For complaints, go to Fongdu. But if you want to voice or provide comments to the government, then you can use this platform. And also other platforms by the Pollution Control Department, for instance. And there are other applications where you can look at the permits that are issued. So these are the various examples that I would like to introduce before going into this topic. And I will talk about the 4 topics today. And you will hear those topics from the next speaker. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kun Aripan. So that's the overall picture. And we have 4 other interesting topics for the series titled Better Data, Better Decision. And the next topic will be about something that everyone is interested in, is health. So it's about space innovation and PM 2.5. And I would like to invite Dr. Pakorn Phet Prayun, who will talk about this issue.
ครับสวัสดีครับผมประกรณ์
Hello, my name is Pakorn, and I would like to talk about dust by using satellite.
ของสุขภาพเราแล้วก็เป็นปัญหาเชิง
So dust is a problem that we see in our daily lives, and it flows everywhere. And it comes with the climate as well as the behavior of human beings. So how can we monitor PM 2.5? We've known about PM 2.5 for about 5 years. And we know that during the past 5 years, the issue of PM 2.5 has been increasingly severe, and it according to the time and the area. And in terms of monitoring PM 2.5, we have to have updated information. So when we talk about better data, the data that we have has to be up to date so that we can solve problems and we can alleviate the problems. And satellite data is another type of data that will help us monitor the situation. So the satellites transmit information continuously. And one of the satellites monitor the hotspots. So they know where the dust is. And the hotspots can be monitored by the satellite. So the satellite transmits the data to Jitsda in Sirasha. And you can see another satellite orbiting around the world. And it's a geostationary satellite, which means that it's stationary, and the information is up to date because it's stationary. And it transmits data every 1 hour. So we have data regarding PM 2.5 every 1 hour, not only for Thailand, but for neighboring countries as well. So we use 2 satellite systems. Amount of dust, but the reason why there is dust in the first place, there are many reasons, whether it's the air pressure or climate change or burning or ENSO, El Nino, for instance. So there is a greater possibility for dust. And apart from data regarding dust, we also need other information as well, such as the hotspots for burning, which we use the infrared, and the other important thing is that all this data needs to be connected. We need to be able to tell a story about what happens to the information, because we need to understand why dust is occurring in Thailand. What are the factors that contributes to dust? So apart from burning, apart from the industrial sector, apart from traffic, all of these contribute, and they occur at different times. So we need to understand the big picture first. And the satellite remote sensing will give us that big picture. When we see the big picture, we are able to solve the problem at the right spot. So because sometimes in around November or December, it might start in Bangkok, and then it might go to the northeast of Thailand and then to the south of Thailand. And the factors that contribute include various factors. So you have to look at the big picture, and satellite remote sensing will give us that big picture. So we developed a platform for managing the problem of PM 2.5. So it's not just where the PM 2.5 occurs and whether or not it exceeds the limit, but it's a platform regarding all physical information regarding PM 2.5, whether it's the agricultural crops or the geography of the country. So it will give us the big picture of the dust, and this information will be updated onto the platform. And by monitoring dust, which flows everywhere, it will create an understanding for the general public, and people will see the same set of data. And so when we try to solve the problem, then we're speaking the same language. So where does dust come from? If we understand the big picture, then the prevention, the solution will also fall into the same line, and we will also be able to allocate human resources into solving the problem efficiently. And I would also like you to see this. So we've known about PM 2.5 for 5 years. But in reality, the PM 2.5 that affects our health, we know that this is a long-term issue, and those who inhale dust, it's not like COVID-19 where, because when we inhale dust, it affects us long time, 10 to 20 years. So it's a kind of disease. And as you can see, we use satellite data. When we know about dust, we can monitor the data up to 20 years back. And we can see that the dust going from 20 years ago, starting from 2003 onwards, you can see that the red area indicates dust, and it happens every year. And some years it has increased, some years it has decreased, depending on the situation at that time. So depending on ENSO, El Nino, all those are factors that contribute to the severity. So each year it's not the same. And as we can see from the image on the right-hand side of me, on my right-hand side, you can see that the severity is in the central region as well as the Chao Phraya River Basin, and this is in November to December. There is an increasing amount of dust, and after that in March or April, the dust will go to the northern region, so there is a high amount of dust. And if you look at the big picture in each month, during January and February, the central region and the Chao Phraya River Basin, there will be a lot of dust, and the average value. So we've experienced dust for more than 20 years, but what about our health? And in March and April, it's also severe. In Thailand, Myanmar and Laos, there is a high amount of PM 2.5, and it has been that way for 20 years. And people who are living in that area have experienced us for a long time, but we've known about PM 2.5 for only 5 years, and this is due to the satellite data. So when we know about dust, when we receive data from the satellites, the benefits of the satellite or of the data that we have is a continuity of data and data that is up to date. So the information is up to date, and actually I like data from the past and I give importance to it. Why? Because if you don't have past data, you can't go back to collect it. So right now you have sensors, you can and in the past, if you had a PM 2.5 monitoring station, if you want to know data from 10 years ago, you are not able to conduct a test from 10 years back. But you are able to use the past data to know that the PM 2.5 situation has occurred for a long time, and the severity has changed according to time. So we'll also look at the hot spots. On the bottom of the screen, you can see the hot spots. So the pattern of burning has occurred for a long time, for the past 20 years. And the severity has also varied depending on nature, on behavior, and also the policy, the government's policies and the policies and also neighboring countries and farmers. And when we analyze and understand the data, we can see the behavior. We will understand the behavior that so we will understand the behavior, and when we understand the behavior, we will understand ourselves, and we are able to solve the problem. So first of all, if we understand the situation and the history in order to understand the present, so learn from the past to understand the present in order to manage and predict the future. So this is a PM 2.5 and the hotspot, which is down below. And currently, we have powerful computers, so using machine learning and AI to analyze data will provide us an insight to the behavior on the dust.
Yep.
Now let's look at the details. After we keep monitoring for 20 years, so you can see that the red spots, spots data, let's say in March and April in Thailand, we've been impacted a lot, right? And in those areas, right here, you can see the situation here. We've been facing with this situation for more than 20 years. Look at the other months. It starts from in winter time. We lost the humidity and the droughts come. And let's say starting from January, February, March, and April. We have a peak time during March and April, and we understand. And as we hear from the news, and look in the very far side, and that was a trend of the change. That's a changing trends of our PM 2.5. The red, it's meaning that it's getting more severe in 20 years. In February and April, look at neighboring countries, Bangkok and western area, it's getting more serious. And so we try to find a lesson learned why we have in some areas why we have less PM 2.5 and how we can manage that. And in March and April, in the north and northeast, northeast and border area with Myanmar and Cambodia, due to the situation is getting severe because of the burning and the environment. So you can see that in Thailand, from the border between Thailand and neighboring countries, the tendency of the severities tends it's going up. So we have to solve our problem. We solve the problem for our government, for our people, and we help to solve. In terms of the international cooperation, is another issue. So we can achieve the success, meaning in order to achieve the success we have to have the common goal and then which leads to the collaboration to solve problem. So these are the historical data that we analyzed in the past 20 years. Now let's look at last year. Let's say this month in March this year, you can see the hotspot. We as the data show to you. So the advantage of the satellite, it helps show the area in other countries. You can see hotspot, right? You can see the hotspot here. We analyze only agricultural area in the farms, cassava farms or corn farms, which in the blue dots. Those are the hotspot. Blue dots represent hotspot in agricultural area. So we show you 1 day data. So when we keep tracking, you can see that each year, each time, each period, how people grow their crops and behavior of growing the crops, how to burn, the agriculture. So we can monitor the change. If you look deep dive into the database, you can see that each year the burning rates can reflect the policies in our countries and other countries. So, and that can really enable us to see root causes. Normally we heard it's kind of hearsays. It could happen from this and that. But when we look at the empirical evidence, these can be tracked and monitored. One important factor that I would like to show to you, this year, we are in the El Nino situation, and actually PM 2.5 or the dust has occurred 20 years ago, as I said. But during the El Nino and La Nina time, it really impacts to the concentration of the dust because of the dryness and the droughts and the humidity. In the past couple of years, we faced with La Nina. La Nina caused a lot of moisture and humidity, so there's a little dust but once we are about to enter to La Nina, you can see some droughts, we have less rain. You can see that during El Nino, we will have a severity of the dust. And during La Nina, we'll have less PM 2.5 or dust. So according to the data that shows teleconnection from La Nina, El Nino to La Nina. So we are apart from the drought that we have to face, we have to prepare for the dust, and it's getting more and more serious. So once we access the data, we can prepare to respond to the situation in advance. That really help us to reduce the problem. We may not solve the problem immediately because we have to understand, we have to look in a holistic approach, but we have to involve with all stakeholders. So we have monitoring dust application. We process the data, and it could show simple results so that people can use. This is to check the dust. So the data that I shared to you about the dust, about the terrain, about geographics, and also the heat and other jurisdictions. So I put all those factors in this application, and in the website you may check in the website and download. And we have a check fun or check dust application. by using from your mobile phone, could be both by iOS and Android. Now look at the source of the dust, the source of PM 2.5. We have developed application you can monitor the PM 2.5, but now you see the amount, the quantity of the PM 2.5, but we want to know where it comes from. Number one, look at the different colors. The color codes shows different sources. Could be red and orange and yellow. Most of the PM 2.5 resulted from burning of crops or agricultural land. And some dust, some PM 2.5, travel in long distance, and we can tell from its characteristics. So apart from, there are some other type of dust, could be from salts, could be organic dust. So we are developing together with the professors from Mahidol University. And finally, a most important thing that I like to share to you, the dust or PM 2.5, it didn't travel like horizontally, it could travel vertically. So in order to understand the behavior or properties, we have to look at the movement like X, Y, and Z axis. So from these photos, you can see the dust or PM 2.5 could float up or travel vertically. 10 could be that it could travel more than 10 kilometers, could be from our country to neighboring countries, and it spends about 6 hours. It could float up to the air and drop down to the floor. So we have a different monitoring stations. Sometimes we cannot really measure the dust because the dust may not, didn't travel horizontally only. It could drop, it could travel vertically, it could go in the air and drop to the floor. So this is how we can see how it travels. All right, let me recap. The satellite data can really help. Let me try it again. All right, now I can click. So the satellite data enable us to track, and actually we not only GISDA, GISDA together with aerospace a network. Apart from track PM 2.5, we try to process the data thoroughly, and we try to classify the types of PM 2.5 and see how it's traveled from neighboring countries in order to understand and see the real root cause in order to respond and solve the problems correctly. And finally, I would like to inform you that in order to solve a problem on PM 2.5 is to understand. We have to understand, and we have to understand the characteristics of the PM 2.5. We have to know it and understand it and know ourselves in order to solve solve the problem properly. And and look at the trends of the PM 2.5. I do believe that in the future we will have good air. We can see blue skies in the future again, because we keep tracking on satellite data and we can see the trends. And look at the climate change, and getting more and more severe. The temperature could exceed than 1.5 degree in the next 3-4 years. But in terms of PM 2.5, it's managed. We work together in order to solve PM 2.5. Even though climate changes, but the PM 2.5 could be improved, and our generation we have clean air. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Pakorn from GSTAT. And talking about data is so crucial to help our work, our public work very well in order to manage different problem, as well as PM 2.5 or the smog, which is kind of serious problem for us. And up next we will hear how data could help us with smart cities and the urban problems with one platform with trophy fondue. May I invite the expert from National Technology, Dr. Wasan Patala Atikom. Over to you, please.
Good afternoon. So for those who are here at the event and also for those who are watching online, I would like to introduce Trafi Fondue. I have 15 minutes. So for Trafi Fondue, we developed this application for 3 groups: for the general public, for officials, for their work to be convenient, and also for executives to make better decisions. So we introduced the concept of platform revolution, like applications that we use to order food or taxis. So it's more convenient for us, so we can order food anywhere, everywhere. It's more convenient to us. And this is also a platform that enables us to solve the issues that we face in our daily lives. And those who use the platform the officials can also know where our location is. So when we see a problem, we have to think about where we have to file a complaint, what phone number we have to call. So it's a long loop. And this is an actual example of an issue filed at the BMA. So it uses 2 weeks to 1 month. But when it's Trafi Fondue, the public is able to inform officials at that moment, and the issue reaches the official straight away. So it's similar to when we order food. The restaurant receives the order and they are able to cook for us right away. So executives, this is an example. Let me see how to click this laser. Okay, so we have developed many versions of this application, and we have found that one thing that the public what we use the most, especially in Thailand, are chat applications. For example, Line. There are 50 million users of Line. And so people can scan the QR code, and then the executives, government officials, can inspect the issue. Has anyone used this application? If you're in Bangkok or in the 3,000 sub-districts, you are able to use this application. I just came back from Chiang Mai province, and there are 161 government agencies in Chiang Mai, and all of Chiang Mai are using this application. So when you submit a complaint, then you add Trafi Fondue on the Line application. They'll ask you 3 to 4 questions. What is the problem? Can you send us a picture? And after the 3 questions, once you click submit, the information will be transmitted to officials. So these are the 4 steps. And once the officials receive the issue, they receive the issue from Line or from their mobile phone or from the computer, depending on the convenience of the official. And this is an example from Kalasin province. If a fire breaks out, or if there's a snake in your house, then you can report the issue. So there are various issues that you can report. So instead of government officials picking up the phone and talking to people, then they are able to see what is going on. They know exactly where the issue or the problem is. And there are also statistics on the number of problems solved. It's similar to when you order food. You can see whether or not the rider has picked up the food, whether or not the restaurant has started cooking. So after you report the issue, you will be able to know whether or not the official has received the issue, whether or not they have solved the issue. You will be informed step by step. And the executive will have a big dashboard. So under the topic, it's like the topic of better data, better decision. And I'll let you see the information from the BMA for the past 1 year so that you will know that if we have a lot of information, we will receive better insights. And we have also received the local awards and also international awards, the National Innovation Award, and also the Prime Minister Award last year. And there are about 10,000 government agencies that are using this application. And we have a total of 7,800 Tambon administrations, and there are still 5,000 left. But there's an increasing number. For the past 1 year, the BMA have received 200,000 reports, and there are also, apart from Bangkok, other provinces have also been using this application, such as Nakhon Ratchasima. There are 412 government agencies. In Chiang Mai, there are 161 agencies, and these are the provinces that have been using the application for the whole province. These are the procedures of each province. In Phuket province, for instance, the government has said that agencies need to receive the issues by 4 p.m. every day. And Dr. Shu Chat in Phuket province has been using Trafi Fongdu to monitor those who are not using helmets on motorcycles. And from the latest data that I received from the governor is that there is a 30% decrease of those who are not wearing helmets on motorcycles. So this is what I would like to present, that the BMA has been using the app for 1 year, and they have received 300,000 reports, and the BMA has solved 220,000 issues. So this is the initial data. We can see that for the first 3 months, for the first month, more than 60,000 issues. So it averages about 20,000 reports per month. In January, we also included the information from the 155 hotline. So from the 300,000 reports, we see that the issues, the reports are submitted between 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if we look into the details, on the left-hand side, it's the time of the day from midnight to 11 p.m. from Monday to Sunday. And we can see that there are reports submitted every time, all day. But mostly it's between 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So we can see that usually it's about the same every day, and 25% of the reports are filed on weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays. If we do not have Trafi Fongdu, it means that 61% of the public will not report the issue. And let's take a look at the officials. And they receive reports outside of working hours, more than working hours. So it's 53% outside of working hours and 40% from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. Now let's look at the time that they receive the reports. So it's also all day, even 1 a.m., 2 a.m., or 11 p.m. And so 10% of the reports are on are on Saturdays, and the officials work from 8 a.m. and it peaks at about 9 a.m. until 4 to 5 p.m. There are a lot of reports at that time as well. Now let's continue. The third graph is the time that officials use to solve the problems. It's also throughout the day. So on weekends, it's 15%. So we can see that if the platform is convenient and then officials are able to solve the problems, even if we say that the officials work from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., but the officials still work outside of working hours, and that is written down in our guidebook. And the last 5 slides are very interesting. The first month that BMA started was in June last year, and we have found that the average time of waiting is 788 hours or 32 days. 1 year has passed, and it turns out that the officials and it turns out that the number has decreased to 38 hours. So the amount of time has lowered by 95%. And this is compared to the first month. And the time used averages 5 days. So we can see that every month the officials are stronger. They are more capable to solve the problems for the public. So if any agency, whether it's hospitals, this application can be used for government agencies, or if you are a school, or if you are a government agency, you can also issue a report to the application if maintenance is required in your building. So that will provide convenience. Now let's look at this next slide. So this is the satisfaction rate. Every time that a problem is solved, we will ask the person who reported the issue if they are satisfied. So we can see that the number has increased continuously from the first month, 3.72 to 4.07 within the past 12 months. So that is something to be proud of on behalf of the BMA. And the green part is 5 stars. So for the 5 stars, the 5 stars has increased from 45% to 59%. So it has increased by about 10%. So the 5 stars has increased, and 1 star has lowered from 16% to 11%. So the information, the data is clear that the public is more satisfied, and the number of 1 star has decreased. So it means that the BMA must have done something to please the public. And the orange is 4 stars. So the trend of 1 or 2 stars has decreased, which is an interesting trend. Now, these are the comments from the public. So I've been doing social intelligence on social media, and so these are the comments from the public on social media about what they think about the system that has been used. So the system is free, and public and private sectors are able to use this application at no cost. If you're interested, you can go to trafi.in.th, which is our website. So this is so it's something that we are proud of. And everything that has happened is not because of the good system, but it's the cooperation. It's about the work process and also the management, the communication, which enhances the work of the officials. These are examples of what is happening on social media. There's a timeline of what the officials have been doing. If you're interested, you can try to use the app. And here is a survey. We always survey officials and also the public, and this is the last slide from 14,200 people. 91% of the public are satisfied, and from 1,200 officials, 84% are satisfied with the system. So the system is not only good for the public, but it's good for the public and also officials and executives, because we know where the problem is, we know what the problem is. And last of all, I would like to end the presentation. If you are interested, you can go to our website and try to see if it's appropriate for your organization or not. If you think it would be beneficial, you can test it out. And if there are any problems, you can add the line called Fongdu Help. We are willing to answer all questions. I'd like to thank you, Dr. Wasan, for Smart City by using Trafi Fongdu. If any of you haven't downloaded the application or have never used the services before, you can test out the system. And data has also been helping the public sector. And next in the series, on better data, better decision, another topic is using the data.go.th by the public sector. And we are pleased to welcome the Digital Government Development Agency, Dr. Monsak Sojaran.
Good afternoon. I'm from DGA or OPDC. I'm from the Digital Government. We are from the DG8 and we are from the Digital Government Development Agencies. So we have to work on digital government. We have to really make the government smarter with digital. With this topic is to how we benefit from the data. We share the data and use the data. I am as the representative from my organization. I like to talk about DGA mission and how to stimulate, the concept of digital government. The more data is, the better it is. The better to access, the better it will be. There's a lot of data. It's a huge data and a group of data that that we can get for free. It's mean the data that produced by public. There are so many agencies. Energy Minister of Energy that work on energy and the environment. They have budget to work on use different problem like a flood or a different crisis. So we have open data, meaning that anyone can access to those data. Anyone mean anyone can access to the data. So if we spend 100 baht to invest in data, and if we can use data 10 times, the cost will be reduced from 100 baht to 10 baht, right? So open data means it's to reuse data. The more that you use data, the cost will be less. If you use data 100 times, the cost will be even less. Actually, if you use data many times, it's not going to be degraded. It's different from phone. If you use a lot of phone, the phone will be gone, right? So the more access, if you disseminate data, the more value it can generate. And actually, data should be open. And that leads to my presentation. The question is, these organizations, like my organization, how we can help to create open data and to make it easier. We create the platform. Platform means platform can really help or enable two parties merge together. Let's say if you go shopping at Siam or Mabunkrong department store, if you go there in order to pay, to do shopping, right? The mall or department store is a platform to make buyer and seller meet with each other. But for digitally or software or application, this platform is like program or could be website or anything that make two group of people meet with each other. So if we call Grab taxi, Grab is application, right? And taxi use application. Driver and passengers meet together, and that causes a matching, and you can ride on a taxi. This is a platform. Same open data, and we have platform, right? And we just been awarded the other year, and this year we apply to get rewarded. And we wait for the outcome. This is a website, and this is a page, and this website acts as a platform. So for any parties to meet with each other, the the public agencies, which is the service providers or data owners, to meet with public, because let's say the data provider and data user meet with each other on this platform. We've been working many years, since the year 2013. I'd like to show you the statistics and how to see how it works. So these statistic was just last month, last May. There were 3.5 accumulated visitors, and 3.5 visitors come to find data in our website. There are 8,800 set of data, increased by 150%, and there are 368 organizations upload the data on this website. These numbers was on last month. Look at other countries: United States, Singapore, and Japan. We don't know who they are. We haven't asked their family names for visitors. But we analyze that there are Thai people living abroad who work on research, and they need data, and they have to get access to this website. The highest number is in the US. So how we drive this ecosystem, the business model and ecosystem that we develop. You can see these three wheels, right? Which is on the, and we try to get the output on the right hand side. We have to have increasing data, and secondly, we have to have more agencies involved. Number three, the usage. We have to have more users and data owners meet together. And what about the data quality? We cannot really focus on data quantity, but we have to concern about quality too. On my left hand side, which is the three sort of area, we try to adjust features. We have to make it more. We need to develop and make platform be smarter. We have to have filters to screen data, and the activities that we have been working, and we've been working with different organizations in order to raise awareness, because we want people to have good mindset, and so that they could upload good data. And we have to unite or work with different organizations. We've been working with OPDC. OPDC keep tracking other public agencies to emphasize and to track the progress. And we have to measure the outcome by analyze indicator or following the indicators. So we ask OPCD to assess the quality of data, and we ask NSO or statistics office to really help checking the data. These about lot, which I will be skipping. You know, whatever we have done, we need to have a power as a backup. The authorization mean my organization is responsible for open data. We have to stimulate open data. Next about improvement. Well, I show you the numbers of last month. So if we compare the data, we like to see the performance between 2 years between the years 2021 and 2022. So the numbers of visitors increased by 160%. The numbers of visits increased from 4.3 million to increased by 400%, meaning that we are doing better. And next, when we said we add different features, the latest features that we add is version 3. We have to analyze user requirements, how we can satisfy users. We cannot have more users unless we satisfy them. We have to look at their comments. We have feedback system to understand whether the users like or not. Sometimes user complained, the application doesn't look good and it's too slow, but they then talk about solution. So we have to use their comments. We have to analyze the comment to come up with better features. If you want to look at viewed and download, if we see a lot of view and download, meaning that data set was good, like Google, and we have statistics. The number that I showed to you was on dashboard. That is open data, and statistics are open data because this is our work. Visualize design, meaning that if you click to data set A, you can click and visualize basic graph before you use data. For those who can provide standard data, if the data is not standardized enough, it will not show data. And data harvesting, this is to decentralize data. If we have one server, if the data failed, so decentralized approach means right now we connect. Let's say each organization has its own server and gets free software, but each server can communicate with each other. If there's no DGA organization, there might be some other organization can plug in and retrieve the data. It could come to the, we could act as Windows or Google. Google serve all websites, right? It linked to our website. Data quality, the last one, number 5. We have bot. We develop the bot in order to analyze the quality of data. The bot will analyze and give scores to data. So in order to understand the quality, the data quality. And this one, I capture the features, numbers of download. As you can see in 16 downloads, right, which is in the red bubble, and up top view. So we have these statistics in our data. So we have another dashboard that shows popularity, and we have the first top 20 most popular agencies. If you want to look at the top 100, you can click view, and if you want to look at particular year of data, it's so dynamic. You can check so that the assessor can really analyze or look at our performance. We don't need to do report. The assessor can come and revisit any year, or they can check the data by quarterly. It's up to them. They can just come and click. And the dashboard of statistics, I just capture this page for you. We can look and you can see the historical data, which shows the behavior by seasons. My apology that I haven't mentioned this. On top here, did you see? I don't know. My laser didn't work. On top it says enter valued. If you're interested in any data set, if you want to know how this data set is popular, like PM2.5 or COVID-19 data, just enter, and it will retrieve all the data that start with the letter P or PM, and it can rank the most popular one. It could rank the most downloaded and the most viewed data so that you can know, you can understand better. And the visualize, as I said, if you go to each particular data, these shows the insurance company. Look, you can see initial or preliminary graph before you download. And in terms of decentralization, you can see the cloud signage, a symbol. It could link to all the servers in different agencies. You can leave your data and store in our server, and we have a software system. We don't manually track. I already talked about numbers of view, number of visitors, right? It didn't prove the real usage. It didn't reflect the real usage. So these we compared numbers of downloads within 2 years time to check if people view data and how whether it's download or not. It's increased 5.6 times, meaning that it could impact 5 to 6 folds. If you compare with investment, if you compare with the budget that you allocate, you can see if we allocate the same budget, actually last year we received very little budget, much less than before, but our performance improved by 5 folds. Next questions. Are you demand driven? Meaning that if you have data, just upload, and that is supply driven. But if you apply demand driven approach, you need to know what kind of data people need. Did you just open the data which no one needs? And we have done survey on users demand, and we will check whether we have those data in the system. If not, we have to chase and the other agencies, and we have to approach different agencies to share that data. In the past, we have to ask different agencies to open the data, but we now tell them that we see some demand when different agencies can share their data. Again, you can see that satisfaction score increased from 3 to 4%, 3 to 4, and the satisfaction increased more than 50% from 3 to 4 points. And these are the sample of the appreciation message. Which is not structured. There was a lecturer from Bangkok universities. University students asked to get data. You invest 100 baht, but people reuse only once is enough. These are the activities. These are the activities that we have done. We also award. We give awards if the agencies have popular data, they would be awarded. Thank you.
Thank you once again for Dr. Monsak for unlocking the data by setting a government open data center with data.go.th. And another topic that we will discuss in the series of Better Data, Better Decision, we will hear from Kun Apinya Siri Nath, the head of UNDP Accelerator Lab from the United Nations Development Program. Good afternoon, participants of the event. My name is Apinya Siranath from the United Nations Development Program. I'd like to speak a little bit about the background of UNDP, or the United Nations Development Program, about how we are related to open data. So UNDP has a mandate to support the government in various countries for sustainable development, and many of you might have heard about the Sustainable Development Goals. And one important thing in order to achieve the SDGs is we need to start from a policy that responds to the 17 SDG goals. And this has to start from the people. We don't want the government to determine the policy or to determine how the country will grow, but we want the people to participate as well. And that is why UNDP has been participating with OPDC to develop a platform so that people can become more connected to the government, and that they can participate in coming up with policies and measures. And that is the start of the platform บอกเราถึงรัฐ or Idea for Gov. So it's worldwideweb.ideaforgov.com. And many of the speakers have already talked about how the government can generate an open system. Is that we need to, is that the public has to be able to access the data, and for this platform, the public is able to voice their concerns so that the government is able to learn about their problems, the various issues. And this is a bit different from Trafi Fongdu. And as you have heard from Dr. Wassan, most of the problems are related to the infrastructure. For instance, if you face problems related to the electricity or roads, you can take a photo and report the issue. But there's another problem related to the structure and policies, that many times you aren't able to take a photo, report the problem, and then everything ends. But there needs to be a lot of changes in the policy, and this is the start of the platform Idea for Government in terms of participation from the public. The feature of the platform, we do not want to be a platform. So we're trying to separate the zones into districts. So regardless of which district you are in, you can click to choose the zone in order to voice your concerns and connect to officials in various areas. The first feature is the conversation, so you can voice your opinions, the various problems that occur. You can voice your concerns so that the government agencies can be aware of the problem. For example, in this case, whether the issue is related to wastewater or garbage, it's actually a big issue. It's something that needs structural and long-term behavioral change. So apart from problems, those who are in that area can also provide their opinions in order to generate quality opinions for government officials so that they know what to tackle. And the second thing is, apart from voicing opinions, it's about the ways to solve the problems, because it's not necessarily government officials who know how to solve the problem, but the public as well. They are able to voice their opinions, the problems that they face. What do they want the government to do? And many times, even though the problem that we face in one area, the way to solve the problem can be applied in other areas as well. So it's an open platform that everyone is able to participate, to voice their opinions on how to solve the problem. As you can see in these examples, there are issues related to street vendors, and people are voicing their opinions related to street vendors and how to solve the issue. I'd like to give you an example for the platform Idea for Gov. We have already launched for 9 months, and the main areas that we've been using the platform is in 2 places in Ayutthaya province and also in Chonburi province. So in these 2 provinces, there might be different narratives. In Bang San, for instance, it's a tourist area, but in Hua Vieng, it's more like a community. But the insights that we have received is that there are similarities in these 2 areas. The differences include, for instance, in San, so the garbage is caused by a tourist, but in Hua Vieng, the garbage is from communities. So when we went to the areas, we got a lot of ideas. And in Hua Vieng, for instance, it's the old city of Ayutthaya province, and there is a river and in the middle of the province, and there's also a temple. So how can we revive the economy? And we thought that if the government is able to improve the traffic in the river and also to promote tourism in the temples, then that is one idea that government officials have not yet thought about. But when we gathered opinion from the public, this is one idea that was generated, and government agencies have been using these opinions in order to further develop the policy for the future for this community. We have also been using this platform in Bangkok. So we went to Ratchathani district. So it's called the Galileo Zone. It's an area that used to be a slum community. So how can you develop it into a tourism area? So we use the platform for people to voice their concerns about how they can improve the community where they live. Even though our platform is a new platform compared to the 2 to 3 platforms that have been mentioned earlier, for the past 9 months that we have operated, we have received positive feedback from the public as well as government officials who have been involved in day-to-day operations. And the benefits from using this platform in the past, the first benefit is in terms of communication. The public is able to communicate with the government. In the past, many people think of government agencies as something that they are not able to voice their concerns to, but today they have a platform to talk to or communicate to the government. And the second part is to issue policies that answer the demands of the public. It's not possible if there is no involvement from the public. So this platform enables the public to express their opinions and also to vote on various issues. And finally, the UNDP, the vision of UNDP and OPDC is a participatory budget. In the past, government officials are the ones who do the budgets without any involvement from the public. So in having this platform, we are able to gather the opinions of the public for the budget, which will answer their demands. And this is the overall picture of the platform Idea for Gov. Those of you who have not known about this platform, you might try to test it out. and see if you are willing to voice your concerns or any suggestions to improve our country. Thank you very much.
ด้วยนะคะสำหรับแพลตฟอร์ม
Thank you very much คุณพิญญา for platform บอกเราถึงรัฐ I do believe that we have listened how data can enable the change of work in public sectors in order to make more efficiencies. I think that you have heard and hear the solution from 5 speakers today. So thank you very much for the organization again, OPDC again.